Alright, so today we're going to solve systems of linear equations by elimination this time instead of substitution. So this is finishing up 4.3 section for our college prep math, and we're going to do this, like I said, by elimination instead of substitution. So to start out with our problem here, we got 4x plus 5y equals 2, and then underneath that we have 3x equals 1 minus 4y. So the first step we want to do is write both equations in standard form to where they look the same. We can see what we can do to get rid of them. So with this, I'm going to move this 4y, this minus 4y, over to this side. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to add 4y to both sides. And therefore, I should get, I'm going to write both of them up here. So I got 4x plus 5y equals 2. And then on the bottom one, I will have 3x plus 4y equals 1. Now, an easy one to get rid of on this would be the x's. Let's start out with eliminating the x's first. So to eliminate them, we need to make them have the same value, okay? But opposite sign. So instead of having a 3 and a 4 there, the lowest common value that can go into both those, we'll say, is 12. So to get 12 out of the top here, we'll make the top positive and the bottom negative. To get a positive 12, we would need to multiply all these values times 3. So we'll take this, multiply by 3. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So then we'll multiply this 2 by 3. Right, and that'll give us up top there, let's put little arrows here so we can follow along here. So up top, that will then give us 12x, because 3 times 4 is 12, and then 3 times 5 is 15, so plus 15y. That equals, and on the other side we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay. Now, for the bottom part, we're going to make this a negative 12. So to get a negative 12 on the x, we're going to multiply times a negative 4. And then we're going to multiply a negative 4 on the other side too. So what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. When you do that, you get negative 12, different color here. There we go. Negative 12x, and then we're going to take negative 4 times positive 4, which gives us, not plus, gives us minus 16y, and that equals, and we have 1 times negative 4, which is negative 4. So now we have those values out there. Now we can simply subtract those 12x's and get rid of those guys. So as you can see, these guys will go away. And then if we're left with negative 16y and a plus 15y, so you have positive 15 minus 16, you're left with a negative y. And then that is going to leave you with 6 minus 4, which is a 2. And then you just need to change signs. So we're going to multiply this times negative 1 to make that a positive y, and we'll multiply the 2 times a negative 1. Multiply the 2 times a negative 1. Put these in parentheses, make it a little more easier to understand there. So negative 1 times a negative y should give you a positive y, and then you're left with 2 times a negative 1, which gives you negative 2. So we know our y value is negative 2. We got one value right here, negative 2. Then you're going to need to plug that y value back into one of these equations here and solve for x. Well, let's just take this top one here. So we'll take 4x plus 5, and in place of our y, we'll say negative 2. And that equals 2. So we're going to simplify this down. So 4x, and then 5 times the negative 2 should give you minus 10. That equals 2. Then I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Those go away. I'll have 4x equals 12. Then I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides to get rid of that 4 on the x. And my x is left with 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So the solution for this is your x value is 3, and your y value is negative 2. So the point of 3, negative 2 is a solution for the step problem for elimination. Alright, so let's go on to this problem. Let's say we've got x minus 2y equals 6 plus y, and then you have 0.05y equals 0.02x minus 0.1. So don't let that scare you. Again, let's make this bottom one a little bit easier to work with. What could you multiply this bottom equation out here to get it out of that decimal formation? Well, to do that, you can simply multiply it times 100. Multiply this whole thing times 100. And if we did that, 100 times our 0.05 would give you 5y. Then that would give you 0.02 times 100. That's moving the decimal point to the right 2 spots. So we're looking at 2x. And then we're going to have simply minus, moving the decimal point to the right twice, that gives you 10. So since we multiply this entire equation by 100 on both sides, it gives us this equation to work with. Now, let's go ahead and make this a little bit easier too. Let's go ahead and write it in standard form. So we have x and y on one side of the equal sign and all the actual number values on the other. So to do that, I'm just going to subtract 2x from both sides. That's going to be 5y minus 2x equals, and then those 2x minus 2x goes away, and I'm left with negative 10. Okay. Now I'm going to fix up this top equation. We have x minus 2y equals 6 plus y. Well, let's go ahead and make that y get over to the side. So to do that, I want to subtract y from both sides. I'll have with x, you have negative 2y minus 1y, so it gives you minus 3y. That equals 6, because these y's will go away. Okay? So now we have these two equations. So we have, let's block this off real quick so we can work them out here. So we have 5y minus 2x equals negative 10. That came out of that whole messy equation right there that we played with. And then we fixed up that top equation, and we have, I'm going to write the same order, so I'm going to put this negative 3y in front. So negative 3y plus x, that still equals 6. So we have that. Now we need to do something to get rid of one of these variables. Well, let's make it easy. Let's get rid of these x values. Because we already have a negative 2 up top, and we could just multiply this bottom equation by a 2 and make those go away. So let's do that. Let's multiply this whole equation by the number 2. So top, we'd still be left with 5y minus 2x equals negative 10. And on the bottom down there, it would give us 2 times negative 3y would give us negative 6y. 2 times positive x would give you plus 2x. And then 2 times 6 would give you 12. Now you can simplify this by adding these two equations together. So if you have negative 6y and 5y, so 5y minus 6y should give you a negative y. Negative 2x plus 2x, those guys are going to go away. And you're left with negative 10 plus 12, so you should get a 2. And again, as we did on the previous problem, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 1. So we'll put y equals negative 2. So it gave me y equals negative 2. Okay, so now we should plug that back into one of the equations and solve for our x. So let's put that back into the equation, this first equation up top. Let's put it back into this equation right here. So we know we got, and we rearranged that so this equation went directly into, hang on, where did it go? That equation went right into this equation, yeah. Equation right into that equation. So we shall be able to take x minus 3 times our negative 2, and that will equal 6. And we just need to solve for x. So we should be able to take x, the negative 3 times the negative 2 should give you a positive 6. And we're left with 6 over there. And we can simply subtract 6 from both sides. And these guys will go away, and we're left with x equals, and 6 minus 6 is 0, 0. So the overall point that we're looking at would come out to here, our answer, 0, negative 2. Alright guys, so that's solving systems of linear equations by using elimination. Altering the equations and eliminating them is a little bit easier than having to solve for a variable, plug it back into another equation. Sometimes it's easier to work with, sometimes substitution is easier to work with. Okay. So hope you learned a little something. I'll see you next time.